We are at Emilia-Romagna for round 4 of the 2025 FIA Formula 2 Championship at the 4.909 kilometre circuit, where we have 25 laps for the sprint race and 35 for the feature. Welcome to the Autodromo Enzo and Dino Ferrari. Imola has been on the calendar on and off since 1980. Well, this place is awesome, and it is one of the best in the circuit world. There's a bit of overcast cloud coming through the Villeneuve chicane. We're all set under the virtual safety car as we test that procedure at the moment. Alongside me in the commentary box is Tom Cant as well. I'll be back with us tomorrow. Tom, Richard Verschoor and Jose Maria Marti, 53 to 41 points. Volaroli on 40. What a round we had in Saudi Arabia last time out. And there is such a close battle now in this second year as a new generation of FIA Formula 2.
18 different race winners last year. We have had 5 from 5 races this year so far. Formula 2 living up to its name and unpredictability. Richard Verschoor, one of the veterans. I think he's the most experienced driver in the field, is Verschoor, in the championship lead by 12 points over Pepe Marti. As the drivers are just on their recon laps at the moment, whilst the VSC is in deployment. It will go away eventually, and it has to be said, it's been brilliant watching this so far. It's the second year with the current Formula 2 car that is designed by Dallara, and the engines are designed by Mechachrome, in case you're wondering who designs the engines. As we see the number 10 Prema there, I think that has to be Sebastian, is it Sebastian Montoya? Interview.
Yeah.
Some struggles, let's say, in the last 2 rounds. The Australia one was by far the best. We managed to put it on pole and be very quick in the sprint race, getting positions. Just then it was cancelled, the main race, which was a shame. But then, yeah, in both Bahrain we struggled a bit for pace, both on qualis and on the races. While in Jeddah, I think we fixed a bit the issue we had in Bahrain, but we got some other. So it's not always easy, of course. You need everything to work well. But I think the team has been working really hard. As I said, we improved quite a lot in Jeddah, even though the result didn't show it. But I'm quite confident we can bounce back today. I mean, this weekend.
Oh, there's a commentary signal line error from Biggin Hill there, as we get a little bit deafened coming through with one of those standby telecard noises. It reminds me of that old Life on Mars when they did the telecard girl as one of the villains, or I think she was described as one of the angels of death. I actually can't remember from that one. But 40 minutes to go. There's Richard Verschoor coming through. And yeah, as you were saying, Tom, such an amazing start to this championship already. We don't know where we're going to go next. It's sort of just constant, surprising, and constant battle of drama. It's great, and it's been great action, but we've yet to see a breakthrough as to who's going to own this championship like we've seen in previous years. No one has took hold of it, and now we're into Europe, and hopefully we're going to see somebody take the opportunity on tracks they know best.
Well, Gabriele Mini is one of those who knows this track from the back of his own hand from his previous series that he's done in Formula Regional and in Italian Formula 4. He is the reigning, well, they say the reigning, he is an Italian Formula 4 champion, is Gabriele Mini, and he is looking to build on his performances so far this year. He's currently sitting, as I look my stats, he is sat 10th in the championship. He has scored points in each of the 5 races, has the young Italian, part of the Alpine setup. And I did say Sebastian Montoya, but it's not. It's Gabriele Mini. Sebastian Montoya is in the number 9 Prema. I think they've got the Mumbai Falcons sponsorship on Sebastian Montoya's car. You'll see it in a moment as he goes through Variante Alta. there he is, just on the bottom screen, in front of the man who is in focus. That's Sammy Megatunov, or is that Max Esterson? I can't quite tell.
Can't see the number, can
from
you? 22.
That.
It's Megatunov,
It's
yeah.
the 22, so that has to be Megatunov, yeah.
Just
Who has, yeah.
up and down season so far for Sammy, isn't it? As he's made the changeover. I think we're going to hear from him.
Triple header, ready for that. We had a bit of rest after Jeddah, so that's good. And yeah, Imola is kind of second home for me. I don't have a home race properly, but it's the home race of the team. I like Italy. I spend a lot of time in Italy, and as you said, winning there in F3 make it special. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just enjoy the fact that it's a bit of an old style track. No room for mistake, not because of walls, but because of gravels and grass that is just next to the track. And yeah, it's a circuit where you need to be very precise. And I don't know, just yeah, the way it's uphill, downhill, and playing around with the curbs, I like it.
Yeah, it's I think their most Bahrain, of course, has got the S's section where you drop downhill, but for consistent elevation changes and it's dramatic. I think this is the first time this year that they've actually going to experience the hardness of the track. There's a few technical issues with TV pictures and audio, thanks to Sky's continued relief efforts after they went down yesterday evening during Eurovision. Many people were complaining about that, man. I was complaining about the fact it went down when we were trying to do the commentary of IndyCar. But yeah, Sammy's going to have hopefully a better run this weekend. And Arvid Libland, who we're watching now as well, was late to the weekend because he was medically unwell. He's in the car today. Same thing has hit Charles Leclerc with a bit of a bug. But yeah, good to see he's in the car and running. There's Joshua Durskin over the line now in the AIX. So, Tom, should we jump down the rabbit hole? We avoided in Formula 3 a little bit with High-Tech, but it's into Formula 2 and the High-Tech team. Their owners are in a bit of trouble. Of course, Ollie Oakes is a part owner with his brother. His brother was arrested as well. And the team have arrived here this weekend with no High-Tech names on the side of the trucks. But High-Tech, of course, is the team entering the championship, so it has to be on the cars. But they are out there, Tom, and they are running, and the whole sorry saga is a bit up and down at the moment. We'll get more into it when we get into Formula 1's practice. But yeah, it's not a great look, is it, for a team that has had such a long history in Formula 2?
Yeah, and the team have been around in Formula 2 since 2020. This is their 6th season. And yet, with everything going on behind the scenes involving the co-owners around High-Tech, Ollie Oakes' brother for that matter, it doesn't look very good, does it? And I do feel for Ollie, who's been through a difficult time now. Ollie Oakes, who was also the team principal of High-Tech before he took the opportunity over at Alpine, where of which he recently had left. But yeah, it's been a difficult period for Ollie, and I hope he finds a way out of the situation, because it's not a good sight at all for him or for the world of motor racing, is it?
Especially considering that there was a lot of rumours going around the paddock that High-Tech were going to buy Alpine and buy their way into Formula 1 as the replacement team, and that looked more likely as Paul Aron is just there now at that High-Tech team on the pit wall there. But yeah, it looked like they were going to come in, replace Alpine and take over, and that stronghold is now gone. So Alpine has fallen back into the clutches, sort of more of Flavio Briatore, who was non-executive. He's now not team principal. He is running the team this weekend, but according to the FIA, considering that Flavio Briatore holds no license to be a team principal after that drama in 2009 of a crash gate at Singapore 08, obviously he was banned, but he never reapplied for a license. So technically he's not team principal, he's just running the team. So Alpine now have absolutely no one as a team representative. I think Dave Goddard is coming in, and he is, if I'm not mistaken there, I'll double check that, but he's coming in as the interim team representative, and he's only been there since January. I saw your eyes go up there.
Yeah, it sounds like he's almost like telling a footballer that's just retired to take charge of a big football club. Like, I don't know, Tottenham Hotspur, for instance. I remember someone called Ryan Mason, who was 29 at the time, being with the club as a player, but after Jose Mourinho got sacked, days before they were due to play a cup final, he had to take charge as the caretaker boss for a cup final in only his second game in charge. That was crazy. But going back to this, yeah, it's pandemonium at Alpine, it has to be said, and there's like no direction, there's no cohesiveness, there's no continuity, there's just no system there at the moment, and I don't know when that is going to change. Someone has to take control of the situation, and it feels to me like no one is.
It's Dave Greenwood, yeah. Dave Goddard's our colleague over with Jake Sanson as well, who's doing it. I was like, what's
I was going to say, I thought,
yeah, I was like, what's the
it'd be
name?
quite a jump for him, wouldn't it?
Goddard? Is it Greenwood? I can't remember, but yeah, it's Dave Greenwood, who is now quoted in the FIA book, because I pulled up the team representatives that we get this weekend as to who's going to be in the press conferences, and it's Dave Greenwood who is quoted as dedicated, responsible person. So not even team principal, not even team manager, dedicated, responsible person. And he rejoined Alpine from High Tech in January. He's been with Ferrari, MANA, Marussia and Renault. And of course he worked at Renault in the area where Flavio Briatore was team principal as well. And Alpine said that Fabio came into the team as executive advisor and remains as a consultant. There is nothing more to it or to read into, but he is in charge of the team. So basically, that's Alpine saying, no, he's got nothing to do with us. And Fabio going, hey, I'm banker. I have all the money. He's going to buy the team again, isn't he? He's buying his way back into Formula 1 slowly.
And where will that sit with the rest of the team principals and the rest of the Formula 1 fraternity? That is, well, I don't know what you think about it, but you know, let's hope we can just get some generate some spirit back into the Alpine team, because they could really do with it right now. And I don't know how long he will be at the helm for, even though he's not licensed to be a team principal. Let's see if he can just get them back on the right track a little bit, as we see Arvid Lindblad come through in the Campos, who's been one of the stars of the season, has Arvid, winner of the sprint race in Jeddah. He's aiming to add to that here this weekend. The man has just gone purple in both sectors 1 and 2. Goes to the top with a purple sector 3, 129.0 for him. Josh Dirksen, feature race winner here last year in Formula 2. He's had a strong season so far. He took victory in Australia, remember. But he's only scored 1 point since, and he's aiming for a better one here. As we see a replay, this is Leo Fornaroli, a home hero, reigning Formula 3 champion, just skipping the Tamburello chicane by going through the gravel, a lockup, but he's able to allow the car to roll through the gravel with no potential harm to the machine, although it did go bouncing through there, didn't it, for the Invicta driver.
I was worried about the front
yeah, he gets
floor.
some. Yeah.
To be okay, as he sort of jumped and dug into the gravel. That's one thing you mentioned in the F3 practice, Tom, is sausage curbs. I absolutely hate them. Jess Ball's going to have a field day, by the way, with that over the weekend. Her rants will be legendary when we come into it, but it's the rumble strips you get, the exit that launch the car, break the suspensions, and the big massive orange curbs that can throw you up into the air, and just I hate them. I absolutely hate them. I'm fully with Jess on that. I know you do too. We don't need them on motor circuits, especially when we have bike racing here at Imola as well.
Yeah, I can't stand them either. They need to go at some point, and I hope that, you know, perhaps it'll make it mandatory at some point. No matter which governing body is in charge, or the circuit organisers will basically be told by maybe the World Motorsport Council to say, look, we're done with sausage curves, get rid of them.
Just put gravel.
Because we don't need them.
Yeah.
Just put gravel. Yeah, simple as that.
Simple. We just where there's a chicane, put the gravel right up towards where the curb isn't, like in the old days. You don't need this area. I know people say, oh, but what about motorcycles? Yeah, but you get penalised in motorcycle racing if you touch the green. So, you know, they are always going to stay on the curb anyway. If they touch the gravel, then that's their own fault. But, you know, you get a penalty in motorcycle racing if you go onto the green. So, you know, it's a rule in MotoGP, it's a rule in World Superbikes. It should be a standard factor. I know the first session of the weekend for World Superbikes on Moist is red flagged twice. That's live on JBMotorsports 2, and the premiere will be coming up later on today on the main channel, as the session still is far from being completed. This is Durskin then, down at the Tamburello, and another lock-up, and straight to the gravel, exactly like Forlo early.
Yeah, so that was a lock-up as he applied the brakes. Josh Dirksen, and you won't want to do those soft compound tyres too much harm. In practice sessions, they do use the harder compound of the two. I think it's the soft and the super soft, the purple side mark super soft tyre that they've brought in for this weekend. And as we see Sebastian Montoya in the, it does look like a Mumbai Falcon sponsorship on there, doesn't it? But I don't know if that's actually the sponsorship on the Prima. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was, but Montoya, he's had a very unlucky season so far, has the Colombian. Been on the wrong end of incidents through no fault of his own, and he could do with catching a break here this weekend. Pete, say he goes.
His father teaching him all the tricks, of course, at this place where Pablo Montoya has, I believe, had a podium finish here. I don't think he's ever won here in those years. Schumacher, Ralph Schumacher, that is, won in 2001, and that was Ralph's first ever Grand Prix victory here at San Marino. 128.526 for Gabriel Mini. And I'm calling it San Marino. It's a bit weird, really. It's a bit like when we had Luxembourg and Europe and Germany all running in. The Nürburgring is a German circuit, but they called it the Luxembourg Grand Prix for a couple of years. San Marino, which is located around about 15 miles away from Emilia-Romagna in the region as well. Just a tiny, tiny little country. But as Dune's onboard camera was very blotchy there, as he goes second fastest, 29,000 away from Gabriel Mini. Yeah, but San Marino, too small obviously to hold a racing circuit, so they outleased their Grand Prix of MotoGP and Formula 1 to other circuits in the Emilia-Romagna region. That's why from 1984 till 2006, if I'm not mistaken, we had the we had the San Marino Grand Prix here at Imola. And then MotoGP have their San Marino Grand Prix at the Mazzano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, which is home to Valentino Rossi in Rimini, which is in Emilia-Romagna. So yeah, it's a bit confusing every time that happens. Especially in MotoGP, Tom, where we have 1 week the San Marino Grand Prix, and then if we need to, we double up, and then the week later it's the San Marino Grand Prix or something. And then Emilia-Romagna, it's weird going back to back. Dune's made a mistake, though, down at Variante Alta.
Yeah, this is probably going to be him using the sausage curbs through here, both right and left. Probably see a slow-mo of the Irishman riding them here. He avoids the bollard, which was hit by one of the Formula 3 drivers in the previous practice session. And they've put that back in place so that drivers are not exceeding track limits, essentially, when they're riding over the sausage curb on the side of the Variante Alta. And there we see Gabriele Mini, who's gone to the top of the timing pages ahead of Alex Dunn and Arvid Lindblad. And he's going for another run here, and we'll find out how he is getting on. The sprint race winner last year, Franco Colapinto, who will be back in a Formula 1 car this weekend for Alpine. Best of luck to him in place of the dropped Jack Doohan. I don't know how long Doohan will be on the sidelines for, but I think to our understanding, Colapinto will be in the Alpine for the next 5 races at least.
Yeah, and that takes up to Silverstone, where the rumour is that Mick Schumacher could be taking over. And there'll probably be a rumour that Paul Aron is taking over. And then there'll probably be a rumour as well that Nikita Mazepin is coming in. Or as there always is something going round. But yeah, Alpine in a very sorry state at the moment. If I was to give that seat to anybody as a permanent drive, I would probably give it to Gabriel Mini, who I think has proved, even in a short time in F2, certainly proved in F3, that he's got the momentum. And if Alpine are serious, Gabriel Mini would be a run for their money, I'd say. Get him in the seat. Another French driver, of course.
The standards of drivers coming into Formula 1 these days have improved, haven't they,
Massively,
Josh?
yeah.
Yeah, massively, especially this year when we've had Behrman, we've had Hadjar, Bortoletto. Doom was obviously in there for a bit, but he's not in there now. Colapinto is, who's another one of the top talents out there. And I think we are going to see more of that in the near future. It's probably going to be unlikely next year because of the fact that with these drivers under contract for next season, a lot of them anyway, it's going to be very difficult for any of this bunch in Formula 2 in 2025 to get a seat in Formula 1 for next season depending on how they get on. I know Cadillac are coming in, which opens up 2 extra seats, but it's likely that they're going to go with experience before they even think about putting rookies in there.
Which is commendable, but stupid when they're looking at the drivers. They're looking at Sergio Perez as well, Romain Grosjean. You know, drivers who historically, yes, been quick, but an older generation as well. And it looks almost like Sergio Perez is going to have that Cadillac seat alongside Mick Schumacher, who was having conversations with the team in Miami as well going forward. So that's going to be an interesting one. Take a look down now at Arvid Lindblad, and another lockup for Alexander Doon. That's our 3rd one down at Tamburello, alongside Forlaroli as well, and Arvid Lindblad earlier. So yeah, a lot of lockups that first chicane, which is the first real heavy braking spot since Ravazza. So you go all the way down, and it's top speed over 200 miles an hour, and you hit the brakes and hope they work.
There is Alexander just going through the gravel, and it goes back to us saying they are on the soft compound, so they have 3 of those for this weekend, along with 2 super soft sets, which they'll use in qualifying later. And to remind you, just like Formula 3, the fastest driver in Formula 2 qualifying will receive a trophy, a pole position trophy, of which Aramco are sponsoring, which is fantastic to see. And that will lift their spirits up a little bit to try and go and get a trophy up, because it will look nice on their CV for future reference. Pepe Marti in the pit lane, 9th fastest for Campos. He took his first Formula 2 victory at the sprint race last year, or in the sprint race in Abu Dhabi, and he picks up another sprint race win for Campos in Bahrain. He's one of the 5 race winners this season, 2nd in the championship, another one of those to have scored points in every race so far. What can he do from, well, this weekend, because he's not too far off Richard Verschoor, who's out on circuit, and in our picture, he's just gone through Akram Minerali as the Dutchman, the 2019 Macau Grand Prix winner, as he makes his way through the Variante Alta now, and he'll apply the throttle and get ready for the last braking zone of the lap of Ravazza. They mentioned in commentary on the world feed that there is a 100-meter board before the first part of Ravazza, where on a safety car restart, that's when the cars have to be in single file, and you cannot go at a leisurely pace. You've got to go at racing speed through there. I think it's the same on when you're doing qualifying runs as well, Josh.
Yeah, and it's sort of, it makes more sense in order to not do anything daft and stupid like we've seen in previous years and cause a merry accident, that you have to sort of respect the distance and respect the action that you have out there on the track. And I'm all for adaptations, and I'm all for a lot more, you know, common sense in the restarts. We saw ourselves, Tom, actually how it can be done properly in the British Touring Car Championships. I just adjusted that bottom graphic because it was annoying me ever so slightly. But yeah, we've seen how it can work in other series, and we know a good safety car restart can make or break an entire race strategy. So I'm all for this adaptation to, you know, go points, so to speak. Another lock-up down at the first corner, this time for Emil Cordial. This time to avoid, you don't avoid going over the gravel. That's a bit of expertise there from Cordial. Don't praise him often enough.
Just seeing those sharp teeth designed curves, actually, or rumble strips, however you want to call them. That is him avoiding the guard. There is Leo Fornaroli, who's riding the sausage curves of a Variante Alta. And he carries on as he's doing. This is Arvid Lindblad then. A slight lock up into Tamburello. We've seen a lot of those throughout this session. I don't know whether they've managed to get the brakes up to the optimal window, really, before they start pushing. You just see, got a little twitch through Villeneuve, does Lindblad. And he's mostly nailed the apex of the second part of Villeneuve. And now he's through Tosa. 600 down in sector 1 compared to what he's... compared to what Luke Browning has done so far on a 128.4. What does the Brit Arvid Lindblad, who's under Swedish and Indian ancestry, is is this man, hence why you may be thinking, well, Lindblad's not really a British recognised surname. Well, you're right, it's not, but he is under Swedish and Indian relatives, safe to speak.
Just, well, do you know what I always love to see? Joe, I'm not going to say it on air. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. It's just surprising me how people's intelligence lacks when they see a live button to ask, "Is this pre-recorded?" It's live. How can we make you see it's live? Do we do a merry dance or something? Come on.
I don't know.
It just frustrates me. So, Lindblad goes over the line, 7 tenths down, Browning's in there. Oh, look at that! Jose Maria Martin improves on to 11th place as well. Don't forget, 10th place is your reverse grid pole for tomorrow's sprint race. And that's qualifying coming up later on as well. So, fingers crossed it's going to be a smooth weekend as now we see mainly fastest in the first sector.
This is Kushmani then, who's coming through Ackerman, and this is the Variante Alta. I wonder if he's on a new set because he's going purple and going faster by quite some way. Some drivers will be doing this just to scrub off some tyres for when they use them in the races, because they don't want to start the races on shiny brand spanking soft tyres for both the sprint and for the feature. They want to get some running on them, like a few laps or so. Money handing over the line then, and this should be him going to the top. It's a 1:28.0 for the Indian. The Alpine Academy driver is having a good time with it. This only 1 point so far, but that first point coming in Jeddah in the feature race. Let's see what he can do this time around here at Imola, knowing that it's a track that you'll know from the back of his hand. He's raced here before in Formula 3, and he will just want to make sure he just finds a little bit of consistency at the moment, because I think that's what's lacking from Miney so far this year. And there we see Luke Browning in the pit lane at the moment, second fastest. I don't know whether he's going to go back out on circuit. I think he will do, whether it be on a brand spanking on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. We'll wait and see. This is Ollie Goethe, one of the Red Bull Junior drivers on the grid, and his first full season in this championship. He made his debut at Monza when he filled in the MP Motorsports seat after Franco Colapinto got the seat at Williams.
Lot of curb.
We'll see how he gets on with this lap.
Not a curb at the top of Variante Alta. Ollie Goethe as well. I would not be surprised if that damaged the floor of the car there, the way he jumped over it. If you're watching, by the way, one of the updates on the World Superbikes, another red flag, our third in one session. That's unheard of in the Superbikes to have so many red flags. And track conditions. So, yeah, that's at moist. It's moist, by the way, over the line, Goethe. Yeah, it doesn't improve on position. Just to circle back to what you were saying about the tyres, you're completely right. They try to get some heat soaks through them, because what is the big difference between Formula 1 and Formula 2, and really Formula 3 as well, but it mainly affects F1? They are the same tyre compounds as what we have in Formula 1, but F1 has tyre blankets to heat the tyres up so that when you come in for a pit stop, they have some temperature still in them. But in Formula 2, you have absolutely no tyre temperature systems whatsoever. You have to manually bring it up. So no blankets, no heating, nothing. We often see teams leaving them out in the sunshine to just try and get some heat into them. But it's up down to the driver to get temperature into them. So, as you say, on a shiny new set, it's actually harder and it's detrimental. So scrubbing them actually gets you up to speed quicker on the formation lap and ready for the race start as well, when so you don't spin your wheels so much when the lights go out.
Yeah, on a track where there's only one designated overtaking spot, you do want to scrub them off to allow yourself less time to get them up to temperature when you do use them in the races. Because if you put them on now, you need a couple of laps just to get them up into the optimal window before you start pushing. This is Ollie Goethe then, through the Variante Alta. What has he done here? Well, he's exceeded track limits for a start, because you can see all the wheels were over the white line. So I'd imagine that lap time will have been deleted for Ollie Goethe. That could be something to look out for in qualifying later, in how the drivers attack the curbs. I don't know if someone's wiped the bollard off. Someone's wiped the bollard off
again,
already.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gone again. Yeah, so that's the second session in a row where that bollard at Variante Alta has been knocked away from its original spot.
So they'll put it back in place ahead of the next session. We've got Porsche's practice at the end of the day. There's a lunch break coming up though, so everyone can go and have some food for the action before free practice 1 for Formula 1 gets underway. It used to be that Formula 1 would be at this time of the morning, but they shifted everything around a couple of years ago to make sure that it used to be, didn't it, on that? I think for like half a year, wasn't it?
Sorry, I missed the first part of that question of yours.
For half a year, it was the Friday morning would be media day, and then Friday afternoon onwards would do the practice for Formula 1. That was very quickly scrapped because it just was not possible to do that all. It was the drivers barely had any time to do anything on it. So it's gone now to Thursday's media day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday's race day. It's a 4-day weekend effectively that we work, but I would still be in favour, and I hate saying this, but I'd rather scrap Friday, have a 90-minute practice session, then go into the weekend. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have more races on the Formula 1 calendar as well, you've got to try and make something work. But I think Stefano Domenicali alluded to that a few years back, where I think he was asked whether he'd be all for 2-day weekends, and he said no. It's just not feasible to do, really. And
it was done here,
I think
though.
for the fan experience... Go on.
It was done here once when we had to get from Portugal to here, and due to the travel restrictions, they had to change it over.
They did, and they trialled that, but if you remember, Stefano Domenicali wasn't in charge at the time. It was Chase Carey who was in charge. Yeah. He was the one that allowed the idea of having a trial in a 2-day weekend at Imola, which we had when we came back here for the first time in 14 years in 2020. They did the 90-minute practice session on the Saturday, no running on the Friday, 90-minute practice session on the Saturday, followed by qualifying in the afternoon, and with the race happening on Sunday. On the 1st of November that year, it felt strange to be racing here at that time of the year. This is Richard Fisher then going through Ravazza, the second part of Ravazza, and that was a kick of oversteer as he applied the throttle. They've moved the curbs a little bit further away so that the drivers can actually get a really good run out of the second part of Ravazza, because I've seen drivers making spins there, and it's not where you want to be having a spin, especially when you've got a long straight, or so-called straight, with all the kinks included, where you don't want to be spinning right in front of someone or causing a red flag there. Here is Alex Dunn coming down towards Ravazza corner through 16, and this is a 19-turn racetrack in an anti-clockwise direction, just like what it was in Miami last time out, although Formula 2 did not race in Miami. Whether they should be or not, that's another question. I'll let the audience decide on that. Dunn goes 4th fastest with 1:28.3 in the McLaren livery Road in Motorsport, and I think he's got a lot to live up to after what's been a really good start to his rookie campaign in this series.
My personal opinion is that Formula 2 and Formula 3 should be everywhere in the championship, just like they are in MotoGP. It'd make our life hell, but it makes more sense to have them at every round, not just sporadic throughout the season. They should be racing at COTA, they should be racing at Mexico as well. So yeah, to give the drivers the best education possible, but the economics of Formula 2 and Formula 3 are somewhat different to Formula 1, and in MotoGP, Dorna has worked tirelessly since 1992 in order to make sure that it's a level system across the board, but teams still have to pay the dollar. Motorcycle racing is a lot more easier to cheaper really than Formula 2 and Formula 3, where you're locked into engine deals with hybrids and all that drama that we see in years gone by. Late on the brakes now for Browning. One thing that gets me is that these Formula 2 cars are larger than the cars we had in Formula 1 back in 2004. How is that possible that in the era where things should be getting smaller, everything's getting bigger in racing? And it boggles the mind. And I saw a TikToker say, waiting for a DTS fan to tell me that that's not a Formula 1 car because it doesn't have a halo and it doesn't look like the car that Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton were driving a week ago. And it was Michael Schumacher's F1 2002 car when he won his championship at Manicure. And it's like, yeah, that is a Formula 1 car, possibly one of the greatest Formula 1 cars of all time. How dominant Ferrari was in 02. yeah.
You can probably see it on the wall
There it
there.
is.
I can't tell if it's the 2002. Yeah, there it is. Right there.
That is the O2. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really good car back in those days, really. But I think that just tells you about Ferrari's superiority over the rest, really, when we didn't have cost caps back then and teams were financially struggling, not to mention Jordan, Jaguar and Minardi. But yeah, I think we're in a better place now where the field is a lot closer with the budget cap. As you see Alex Dunn going through Akram Minarali, he's probably going to get held up here by some of the traffic here. That looked like Ritomo Miatid being held up by, and then one of the Tridents, and
Mini there.
that's one of the Alpine livery ones. So I think traffic's going to be a huge issue later on. And there is Alex Dunn again looking up at Tamburello, but avoiding the gravel this time.
So he's not having the best runs with 9 minutes to go in the session, as we now take a look out on the circuit for Jose Marti. Out of Variante Alta, down towards Ravazza, the double Ravazza corners as well. The Red Bull sponsored driver. Red Bull celebrating their 400th Grand Prix here this weekend. With a possible announcement that Christian Horner could be leaving the team. That's only a rumour that we'll get into shortly in the practice one session in an hour's time. Okay, not too bad there from Marty, up into third position. But Rafael Villagomez and John Bennett have improved on their times. Bennett at 1:29.331, Villagomez at 1:28.848, so they've improved with the green times you see on your timing screens. Here's Mini.
Yeah. Mini not improving his time from before, 1:28.5, but he had been on those soft compound tyres for a period of time. You mentioned about Red Bull. It's 400th Grand Prix this weekend on the track where they celebrated their 4th Grand Prix in Formula 1 20 years ago.
It's
in their first
terrifying.
season, yeah.
Oh, look, they're covering up the brake ducts as well, so they're trying something there. Didn't know that was legal. Gaffer tape on the front brake cover intakes. Just trying to get temperature in and keep the heat in the fronts. Yeah, Red Bull. Isn't this where they got their first podium as well? Does that come in Monaco? No, fine.
That came in Monaco, like in 2006, David Coulthard, yeah.
Wonderful event there for DC. He wore the Superman cape as well, didn't he? He did that recently, actually, at Red Bull HQ. Or I say recently, it was during the COVID years. And wore the cape and the suit. It was a bit tight. His lad's still top. Martin, there's Victor Martins now, 6th fastest as he heads up towards Variante Alta. What's the wonderful thing about this place? You don't have turn numbers, you have the names. It's a fitting place to come to and have a race at. As Formula 1 comes here, obviously there'll be a few reminders of the 75th anniversary for Formula 1. It's very much will be their celebratory weekend. They're also going to be doing it at Silverstone. I think there's a few special events planned at Silverstone actually that Formula 1 are doing, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's a concert for the 75 years, and there's also then the usual Sky F1 stuff on the Thursday show, and yeah, I think there's a special driver parade once more. I don't think anything can top the driver parade we had in Miami. That was spectacular.
I think I saw something for Singapore later in the year that Foo Fighters were one of those performing at the Grand Prix. Which is, if I said that to my dad, if he was going to Singapore later that year for the Grand Prix and he found that Foo Fighters were performing, he'd be in glee.
Follow only twitching. And he goes off down Aqua Minerale. That's his second off of the session. Just got loose on the entry, got on the rumble strips, then it's the sausage cup that finally pops him in. Yeah, all good. And that is good actually for Foo Fighters to be there. That might make me want to go. I wish we could do more events trackside for Formula 1 and Formula 2 across the year. I think the easiest one to do is Zandvoort. Go on.
It's an expensive business though, isn't it? You know, to do all these things. But I think sometimes when you're doing things remotely, you know, sometimes you're able to do it at home when you know you can do it, provided everything works properly. And yeah, otherwise when you're setting up over at a circuit, you don't quite know where everything needs to be set up. You're not familiar with the commentary boxes unless you've been before, of course. I mean, that was the thing when we were over at Donington. That was very last minute, wasn't it, Josh?
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we were
weren't
able to set up.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things, really. You know, it's great being over the circuit, but it's about being able to set everything up the way you want it to when you're not quite familiar with what the commentary boxes are like or what the media centre is like and what you can use and what you can't use, that type of thing. It's all up in the air, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a controlled environment, and Donington was very much last minute having that commentary box because we had it for MotoGP, but then we stayed in there for the qualifying session. That went okay, but we were supposed to be trackside for the races, but the Wi-Fi signal just would not work. So we had the commentary box once more as an emergency backup and ran there, and then Louise was on her grid walk and we had no internet in the commentary box. We had to run around trying to find the media centre password, which was luckily pinned up against the wall that I found, because nobody was in the media centre, because everyone was out taking photos, getting interviews and being on the grid. We were up in the commentary box, and I was about 2 minutes away from knocking on ITV's door before they went on and said, what's the password? Because they were just in the box next door to us. But yeah, we got there in the end, and now there's more plans coming in for the Donington round of the second touring car event in a few months' time. Yes, that is also a Formula 1 weekend, but we have plans.
Ollie Goethe then, coming out of Variante Alta, heading downhill towards Rivazza. 20th position at the moment is Goethe, but we haven't seen a lot of him in this session compared to maybe some. He is on for an improvement with 3 minutes to go. Let's see what he can do. It'll be a 1:28 for him. He's coming up behind one of the high sides, so he might get a little bit of a tow, but he gets over the line now. It is a 1:28.9 for Goethe. It's not a radical improvement, but it is some form.
Estes has done a 1:28.6, so has moved up the order as well into 11th place. But Ollie Goethe's rear there, very loose through several of the corners. Variante Alta, the rear was stepping out as well down at Rivazza. This is Beganovic down at Acqua Minerale. There's a lot of bumps now downhill there that the drivers have been noting, and there's a massive bump where, you know where Russell hit a couple of years ago? There's a bump there now, and it's just launching the Formula 2 cars to go wide. We might get a very interesting race. Off at Rivazza 2 goes Dino Beganovic.
So just carrying too much speed into the second part of Rivazza. Dino Beganovic, who was one of the Ferrari Academy drivers in this field. And now we're looking at Alex Dunn, who's coming towards Rivazza, stays out of the way of one of the Alpine Academy drivers. Don't know whether that's Kushmini or Gabriele Mini, but Dunn is going for what could well be his last run in this session. Here is Richard Verschoor, 20th fastest. I think it was towards the top of the timing pages earlier, but he has dropped all the way down. This is a chance for him to make his way back up with a fairly fast lap time. It's only 16th though for Verschoor. The lap time going away towards the end of the lap. He's probably on an old set of softs, which he may not use for the rest of the race weekend.
This is Dune again. It's going to be his third time locking up, and straight on this time he does not manage to avoid it and goes through the gravel at the first corner. We've got a red flag, and session ended in the World Superbikes after Nicolo Bulliger, the championship leader, has a massive high side. He's up and walking away, just to bring you that information as well, but the session will not restart. It's 4 red flags in one session, by the way. A new record.
Alex Dunn was never going to get that car slowed down from the moment he applied the brakes. It just didn't.
No.
I don't know if he's lacking any brake temperature in that car at the moment. Is Alex Dunn. Gabriele Mini.
Well,
he's not on a real or on a representative time here as he makes his way through Variante Alta. Can he pick up his first Formula 2 win this weekend?
I think he's up there. Lad now with those taped up brake ducts. I think you're right, Tom. They're struggling to keep temperature in the front, aren't they? There's too much air getting in and cooling the brakes down. It's an undulating circuit. It's the first time this year you're going to be experiencing the changing air strategies as the checker flag comes out. Midland then has got those taped up fronts. Let's see if he goes any quicker. His personal best in Sector 2 26, 27 over the line. No, he's 10th down. 9,000 to length overall, though, to Alexander Doon, who's topped the session, 127.907. 127.916 for Arvid Lindblad in P2. But again, we've still got 20 drivers separated by 0.999. So that's an insane gap in the Formula 2 Spec Series that they're all so close. There's a bit of sunshine now comes out. It looks like England rather than Italy. A little shot there.
It's almost like my nearby village that I'm walking by sometimes. But Luke Browning, he's had, how to sum up his season so far, he's had 2 podiums, the sprint run in Australia and a feature race, a 3rd place finish in the sprint race in Australia and a 2nd place finish in the feature race in Bahrain. Luke Browning goes over the line. It's not an improvement from before. He stays in P6. I think the drivers' lap times are falling away because of the tyres that are degrading. Now, here is Dino Bogdanovic. We're going to see a replay of what the Swede has been up to. Is this what we think it's going to be? Well, it's not a look-up this time, but as he gets out wide, the car just steps out.
Is that going to be something that we're going to be witnessing then in certainly I think the sprint race, where we have to manage the tyres for over 23 laps? We're going to see basic mistakes like this at critical times, aren't we? Oh, is that Doon? That's
done, yeah. He was just getting out of the way of one of the Alpine Academy drivers, and he'll be very, very happy with that session, will Alex, and he will look on to the rest of the weekend aiming for another positive result, because he's Ireland's next potential star on the motor racing ladder.
So Arvid Lindblad fastest. Let's head down quickly to the world feed.
Tyre being cool, and then they get down there, and the front tyre's not performing. The brakes are not performing either, as we saw Arvid Lindblad blanking them off because they're struggling with the front locking. So you get a horrible snappy performance from the brake pedal over a tyre which is not operating at its maximum temperature, plus the bumps.
Yes.
And you get these little nasty snap lockups. And once the 18-inch tyre is locked, the wheel has more inertia than a smaller tyre does. So it's harder to unlock them, if that makes sense. You've got to overcome the inertia of the bigger wheel.
Yeah, so once that, it just commits to the gravel. And here we saw Alex Dunn. He had gone off earlier in the lap, but this was a replay of him coming up towards Variante Alta. Smooth run that time, and smooth session for him. 127.907. Great start for the Irishman, fastest for Rodin Motorsport. He's had a really impressive start to the season, continuing to show great pace.
Really is, yeah. He's been really impressive at the beginning of this year, done particularly in Bahrain, coming back after a really difficult sprint race to then go on and take the victory in the feature. And he has taken the top spot in free practice on what is a pretty important pole position here this weekend. The race actually never been won here from pole in Formula 2. The sprint or the feature, but on paper it's a circuit that it is very important to qualify well.
It really is. And 2 Formula 3 graduates, 1 and 2. Kushmaini next along, Pepe Marti 4th, Victor Martins 5th. Gabriele Mini. That will make the fans around the circuit happy. 8th place for the Italian driver. He'll look to improve on that. Roman Stanek next, and then Jack Crawford did improve. We got him up to P10. Good result for the Trident team, as we mentioned as well there. Both in and around the top 10, but concerns for our championship leader, Richard Verschoor, only in 16th place.
He'll be looking to improve if he possibly can, moving into qualifying again. Onto that super soft tyre. There'll be Formula 1 running as well, which really matters here because of the dominance of the mechanical side of the grip required around Imola. So it'll be an incredibly different racetrack on a softer compound tyre that they'll go out onto for the half an hour of qualifying. They'll have to get their head around that. Drivers heading out of the pit lane. They're not sending them back out onto the racetrack. This is the way back to the support race paddock. So they get another look at the racetrack for free.
Yeah, there we go. Another it'll look for them. Max Esterson, he'll take a lot of confidence from that result there. P11 for him in that session. It's going to be a challenge for them switching over, isn't it? They've done their run on these soft tyres, which we'll see come the race. Some may start on it, on the alternative strategy. Some will, of course, maybe go on it after their pit stop. But it's all about going on the super soft tyre now when we get to qualify.
Yeah, it really is. All about the super soft tyre. Sprint race one where you can get a safety car and they can jump across onto one of the sets of tyres that they've used in qualifying and perhaps go charging through the field, although making those moves, giving up the track position is a brave thing to do here in Imola. And, several drivers then being sent round again as they push the cars back through this gap in the fence in the early stage of the pit lane. Let's see how they ended up at the end of free practice.
Well, here is the confirmed result for you.
Yeah, it's going to be Alexander Dean on top for Marvin Lindblad, and then Kush Miney, Jose Maria Marti, Victor Martins, Luke Browning, Sam Vigatunev, Gabriel Mini, Roman Stanek and Jack Crawford. Taking in then further down, Max Esterson, Sebastian Montoya, Joshua Durskin, Dino Vaganovic, Leonardo Foloroli, Richard Mashaw. Then we get Rafael Villagomez, Joff Bennett, Emil Cordial, Ollie Goethe, Rita Miata and Clan Shield down in 27th position. Tom, your closing thoughts on this action we've seen in practice so far?
A lot of lockups, especially at Tamburello from the drivers. Alex Dunn, of course, one of them, and they'll be pushing even harder when they put the super soft tyres on for quali, and who's going to be able to hook up the lap when it matters most. And as Alex Brundle mentioned in commentary, the driver, well, no one's won from pole in any of the races at Imola in Formula 2.
Thanks, Tom. We'll be back in an hour's time for the action from the opening practice session of the Formula 1 weekend, and then later on we'll be on for F3 and F2 qualifying before practice 2 and the Indy 500 action as well. We'll see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye.